Faithful Minor Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay.
Welcome back to another episode of Jay in the Bay. And of course, we're talking all things 49ers. Obviously, a disappointing way to end the season, no doubt. But there's been a lot of news that has come about Trey Lance, about Brock Purdy. We'll definitely get into that tonight, I should say. It's also a call-in show. I will drop the link in around the 10-minute mark. Feel free to, you can call in and talk about your feelings about the regular season. If you want to talk a little bit about off season, we can definitely get into that. We can talk about the latest news regarding our 49ers. We can also talk about the Eagles game. If someone wants to vent about the 49ers and Eagles game, we can definitely do that. Appreciate everyone who tunes in tonight. Feel free to like the video. Make sure you subscribe. If you watched Straight Out of the Bay last night, another kudos to you. Appreciate you for stopping by for Straight Out of the Bay with myself, Kelts Chronicles, Bay Area Baller 18, and Amin the Dream. We had a blast. We're looking forward to doing the Straight Out of the Bay show, maybe a little bit in the off season, but definitely ramping back up once next season begins. But I'm excited for the show tonight. I had a lot of things on my mind. I wanted to go live tonight and also hear some of the faithful and their input on the ending of the season and, the 49ers lost to the Eagles. We'll definitely get into a lot of topics. Also, DeMeco Ryans, DeMeco Ryans was hired as head coach by the Houston Texans. Obviously, huge congratulations to him and his family. For those that don't know, DeMeco Ryans, he was drafted by the Houston Texans in the first round. And it's like it's coming full circle, right? DeMeco played for the team, the Houston Texans, and now he's the head coach. So definitely proud and, honored to say that he was a coach, a hell of a defensive coordinator along with the 49ers, and happy for him and his family. Obviously, that leaves a hole for the 49ers defensive coordinator, and that's something else we can talk about as well. But yeah, man, super happy and excited and stoked for DeMeco Ryans. Now, will DeMeco Ryans take one of our other coaches on the coaching staff? And supposedly, I think one of our offensive coaches is already getting interviewed by the Texans for the offensive coordinator position. So honestly, on the offensive side of the ball, as long as he doesn't take, Brian Griese, who I thought did, a pretty damn good job this year. As long as he doesn't take Brian Griese, they have at it on the offensive side of the ball. And of course, on the defensive side of the ball, leave Chris Kasarik alone. Definitely don't want him leaving, the 49ers. But that was some of the biggest news that came out today regarding the Niners and DeMeco Ryans. So happy for him. It was a 6-year contract. I know the Texans had hired two black coaches previously, back-to-back years. When was the last time that happened? So the Texans did that, but also they got fired. They were only allowed 1-year deals, those black coaches, David Culley, and his name is escaping me. Forgot his name, but he used to coach for the Chicago Bears. He also coached in college at University of Illinois. Lovie Smith, that's who it is, Lovie Smith. So the Texans hired David Culley, fired him after 1 year. They hired Lovie Smith, fired him after 1 year. So hopefully DeMeco Ryans is allowed time to cultivate the talent, grow the team, and, inspire that locker room. So happy for DeMeco Ryans, absolutely. Looks like we have some people in them comments. Let's say what's up to the people in the comment section. We got Redder 4. What's good? How you doing tonight, Redder? I hope all is well. Hey, appreciate you coming in tonight. I know, your season ended in the regular season, but hey, man, appreciate you coming through. And I know you're looking forward to the Steelers next year. And also, hey, we got a Super Bowl coming up in 2 weeks. So that's going to be very, very exciting for sure. Hey Zeus, what's good? How you doing tonight? Hey Zeus. Jesus says Niner gang. Congratulations, D'Amico Ryans. Absolutely. I mean, well deserved. Credit to Shanahan for putting D'Amico Ryans in that position. First hiring D'Amico Ryans as a linebacker coach, and I believe in 2017. Then he was elevated to the defensive coordinator 3 years later. So, D'Amico Ryans did an excellent job for us. Obviously, we had the number one defense this year. Well deserved. Hopefully he keeps it up. And hopefully he has a successful tenure with the Houston Texans. Obviously, I want him to win every game as long as he's not playing the Niners, So, but yeah, just happy for D'Amico and his family for sure. Now, as far as, who do we bring in for defensive coordinator? Jesus already has an idea. He says, bring in Vic Fangio. And, for me, I wouldn't want to change up the scheme. That's the only thing, Fangio, he runs a 3-4 defense. Obviously, we run the opposite of 4-3 defense. So I wouldn't want to change up the scheme. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? I mean, Nick Bosa, he doesn't need to be lining up at outside linebacker. He needs to have his hand in the dirt, rushing the passer, on all of his snaps. He doesn't need to be, flanking out in coverage. We don't need Nick Bosa to do that. So, Fangio, obviously, he's had success with the 3-4 defense, but I wouldn't want to have to change up that defense. Now, I heard that the 49ers also were interested in Steve Wilkes, I believe. And, I know he is a seasoned coach in the NFL. He was the interim coach for the Carolina Panthers this season. And he has, multiple years of experience. I'm not sure about his defensive scheme, though. Honestly, I didn't watch too many, Carolina Panthers games. But I would definitely have to look that up to see what his scheme is. Obviously, clearly the decision is not mine, but I would love for us to keep the same scheme as far as the formation goes, because I feel like it worked pretty well this year, and why change that up? We got Eric in the building. What's good? How you doing tonight, Eric? I hope all is well. Glad to see you guys in the chat with me tonight. We're going to talk about some 49er football, of course. And I appreciate you guys being here. Feel free to hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe. Jesus says Lance should work on footwork, playbook, pocket presence, accuracy, defense, etc. in the offseason. Yeah, he's got a whole lot to work on in the offseason. And him getting hurt in the second game of the season obviously hurt his development. And it's almost like, well, it's not almost, it is. He didn't get better this season because he got hurt. So it's like he's starting off from last season where he was. And in the games we saw, 1.5 games, he didn't look comfortable, but that's because he needs the reps. And that was so frustrating why he couldn't, finish out the season healthy, is because he's in the same position he was last year. He didn't get the reps. I mean, we saw the difference of reps. Like, obviously, Trey Lance is more talented, right? He's got, the measurables, the height, the speed, the arm strength. He has all that over Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy has the experience. 48 games at college really served him well. And, I just hope that the 49ers give Trey a chance. Now, obviously, with Brock Purdy's injury, we'll see what happens. I heard Brock Purdy today, he's still getting other medical opinions. And for those that don't know, Brock Purdy, he suffered, of course, the torn UCL, I should say, not ACL. He suffered the torn UCL in his throwing elbow on the hit from Hassan Reddick. And it could require surgery, or Brock Purdy could decide to rehab it. Now, Brock Purdy has not made a decision yet, but if he does opt for the surgery, he could be out for a minimum of 6 months. He could also opt for a Tommy John surgery, which is popular among a lot of baseball pitchers. But if he gets that Tommy John surgery, his season is he won't be able to play next season if he opts for that Tommy John surgery. So the definitely the clock is ticking for Brock Purdy. Hey, I hope he makes the best decision for him and his future. I can't tell him you should do this over that. But hey, it sucks because he had an incredible year, and to end it like that, in a loss versus the Eagles, also getting hurt. It was a fluke injury too, though. I mean, when was the last time you saw a quarterback get hurt when he's trying to throw the ball and his elbow hits the helmet of the defender? So it just sucks. And obviously wishing a speedy recovery for Brock Purdy. And like I said before, this is a call-in show, so I will go ahead and drop the link. You can either show your face like I am now, or you can just you can just hear your voice. It's up to you, but I will drop this link in them comments, and feel free to call in. All I ask is that you keep it respectful. That's all I ask, man. Just keep it respectful. I show y'all respect. Just show me the same. That's all I'm saying. So we'll definitely continue with these comments. Feel free to call in if you got something you need to get off your chest. If you want to talk about the Eagles, game. If you want to talk about Brock Purdy, you want to talk about Trey Lance, you want to talk about Mike McGlinchey, hey, whatever you want to do, feel free to call in. And looks like we have our first caller. Let's get this gentleman in the building. We got Redder in the building. What's good? How you doing tonight, Redder?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. I know we had those issues last time, but it's cleared up.
That's why I was checking.
Hey, appreciate you for calling in, man. What's on your mind tonight?
Steelers versus 49ers next season.
Is that in the preseason or regular season?
Regular.
All right, cool, man. All right, that's going to be an exciting game, man. I don't think we don't know what week it is yet, or is it? I'm not sure. Is it a home game for the Steelers or the Niners?
I think it's at us.
At us. Ooh, okay. All right. That's going to be a good game. I remember the last time we played Pittsburgh? Was that 2019? I think in Pittsburgh. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I think it's been a minute. Who do you got for the Super Bowl, Redder? Who are you taking? You taking the Eagles, who beat the brakes off us, or are you taking the Chiefs?
I want the Chiefs to win so badly. I can't. I got to go with the Eagles.
I mean, the Eagles, they are a really, really good team. Obviously, they showed that to us. And they're going to be very tough to defend, especially with the read option that they employ with Jalen Hurts. So they're definitely going to be a difficult team. But Pat Mahomes, he's got heart. I know he's got a bum will, but they're going to shoot that bad boy up. He's got 2 weeks off to let it heal. So I'm just hoping for a competitive game. Clearly, I don't like either team. I wish they could end in a tie, but obviously that's not going to happen. So, but hey, I'm looking forward to the halftime show. I know Rihanna's going to be performing. I'm looking forward to that. She got hits on hits on hits. So, man, what else are you looking forward to in regards to the Super Bowl, man? What else you thinking about?
I've been thinking about this hire from the Texans, and every time I think about it, I like it more.
Yeah, DeMeco Ryans. I mean, it's definitely well deserved. I mean, he's been a hell of a defensive coordinator for our Niners, and great job by Shanahan for seeing the potential in DeMeco Ryans, and I think this is the third coach. This is the third head coach that's been under Kyle Shanahan. Obviously, Robert Saleh with the Jets, Mike McDaniels with the Fins, and now DeMeco Ryans with the Texans. So, hey, Shanahan has an excellent coaching tree, man. No doubt about it.
Hopefully they don't fire him after 1 year like they did to Coley and Lovie Smith, which I doubt they will. They wouldn't do that.
I mean, you hope not. Hopefully he's given an opportunity to, cultivate the talent, to build the culture. But, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully he gets a fair shot. I mean, it was a 6-year contract.
Yeah.
So hopefully they give him at least give him 3 years. At least give him 3 years, because the Texans, they'll probably draft a quarterback, I would surmise, and try to build from the draft.
Yeah, by the way, I'm really looking forward to the draft too. We currently hold the 17th pick and the 32nd, which we got in the trade with the Bears.
Wow. So what do you think you're gonna do? You think you're what, trade up or stand pat at 17, select the best player available? Or let me ask you, what's your biggest need?
O-line and cornerback.
Okay.
What's yours, in your opinion?
Our biggest need, man, that's a good question. I mean, we don't have a first or second round pick this year. Our first pick is in the third round, and now we're going to get even more draft picks because of D'Amico Ryans, being hired as the head coach for the Texans. So I would imagine we go defensive line. I won't be surprised, but we could go defensive line. We could go center. I know that the Niners, they're not going to draft a center high. We could easily go corner. I would love to see them go tight end. Find George Kittle's replacement in the draft. Find another athletic guy who can be a mismatch against opposing defenses. Hopefully we don't draft a running back. Hopefully we don't do that. But we'll see. We got a ton of draft picks. We got like 10 to 12 draft picks. So it's going to be definitely an exciting time for sure.
Before I leave, speaking of tight end, before I have to go, I like Michael Mayer a lot. You know who that is?
Michael Mayer. Is he coming out in the draft this year?
Yeah, he's the tight end from Notre Dame.
Okay. Is he like the best tight end prospect?
Yes.
Okay. So I have to look him up then.
I've seen him play live because he played in my high school and he absolutely torched us.
Wow. Okay. Hey, I'm gonna have to check him out. I have to check him out for sure. Hey, I appreciate you calling in tonight, Redder.
It's good talking to you.
Absolutely, man. Enjoy that Super Bowl, man. Hey, you have a good night as well. Enjoy the Super Bowl, man.
Thanks.
All right, peace. And that was Redder. Always good to hear from him. Let's say what's up to a few people in the comment section. We got Mischief Mike Seaver. What's good? How you doing tonight, Mike? He says, what's up, Jay? JB, always shouting you out. Appreciate you for tuning in tonight. And Redder, yes, we are interviewing Steve Wilks for that defensive coordinator position. Obviously with the departure of D'Amico Ryans, I've heard Vic Fangio. I've heard of Mike Wilks, Steve Wilks. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see who we bring in as as a defensive coordinator. Mischief Mike says 49ers have opposite issues of every other team. Two good ones with the Jimmy trade, and your quarterbacks get healthy. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the building blocks, the pillars of the organization as far as a player standpoint are definitely there. I just think we need to add a little bit, maybe get a little bit better on the offensive line. Definitely add another edge rusher. I know we got Drake Jackson last year in the draft, but maybe add another veteran guy. I think the only two edge rushers who are under contract is Bosa and Drake Jackson. So there's a lot of free agents. There's going to be a lot of guys who probably won't be back next year along the defensive line. So it's going to be very, very interesting. David McNiner, what's good? Appreciate you joining the stream tonight, man. Hopefully all is well. Good seeing you, man. Let me know. Caller, are you ready? Give me a thumbs up. All righty. All right, so let's bring in our next caller for the call-in show. Feel free to call in. The link is in the chat. Let me just let me drop it one more time for those that want to call in and talk about our Niners. What's good, man? How you doing? What's your first name?
Andrew.
Andrew, hey, nice to meet you, Andrew. What's on your mind tonight about the 49ers?
I know they didn't make the Super Bowl, but they're never done facing the Chiefs since they're going to Super Bowl 57 in Arizona.
Yeah. What were your thoughts about the game versus the Eagles? What do you think was, one of our biggest reasons for losing against the Eagles, man?
Because Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, I thought.
Issue who he just took off the shirt after he won the NFC Championship. His polo shirt, with the number 1 on it, and put on the NFC Champion shirt when he won. I'm not a fan of the Eagles. I know I'm a fan of the Chiefs, and I know who coached for the Eagles, Andy Reid.
Yeah. He's facing his former team. Isn't that something? It comes full circle. Andy Reid used to coach for the Eagles, took them to 3 straight NFC Championship games, and they let him go. and now he's with the Chiefs. So yeah, that's going to be an intriguing matchup. Who do you think has the advantage, Chiefs or Eagles?
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
I want
Okay.
to show you my proof.
Okay.
I'll show you what I mean. Here it is. Look on top of the man or the black polo. Listen to the
Who is that?
Chop.
So that's your proof?
The Chiefs. Wait and see.
What's your score prediction?
More than 9 points. It might be 42 or 41 or 43.
Okay, all right. Well, I hope it's a competitive game. That's for sure. You got the two best teams in the NFL, two great quarterbacks. It's going to be an intriguing game, that's for sure. Let me ask you this:
Kelsey Bowl.
It's going to be. I know and also you got the two brothers. You got the center Kelsey for the Eagles, and then you got tight end Kelsey. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of storylines for sure. Let me ask you this: what do you think is the biggest, need on this 49ers team headed into the season, as far as a player standpoint?
I know they faced the Chiefs this in 2022 during the 2022 season in October. It was a Super Bowl 54 rematch, and Chiefs always win.
Okay. Hey, there's no doubt about that. The Chiefs did beat us, and there's no doubt about that. But I'm looking forward to a rematch the next time we play them. Hopefully, it'll be in next year's Super Bowl. That's what I'm hoping for. So definitely not scared of the Chiefs. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that. But I appreciate you calling on to the show tonight, man. What was your first name again?
Andrew Hune. And
Andrew, hey, I appreciate you calling on tonight. Say that again.
Do me a favor. Let me know you see my SOT Productions YouTube channel.
What's the name of your YouTube?
SOT Productions.
SOT Productions. Okay, all right. Do you follow me on IG? Do you follow me on IG?
I don't. But okay, I will.
Follow me on IG, Jay in the Bay. Follow me on IG. Feel free.
I'll think about it.
Appreciate it, man. You have a good night, man.
On YouTube. Good night.
Good night. Have a good night, man. That was Andrew. Let's read a few more comments. Let's see. We have, let's see. Mischief Mike Seaver says, what D do the 49ers run? With D'Amico Ryans, we ran the 4-3. We ran the 4-3. I know Vic Fangio likes to run the 3-4 defense, so I don't really want to change up the defense, but it'll be interesting to see what Shanahan, who he decides to hire. David McNiner says Trey Lance will have OTAs and until about mid-July to prove something. I think we should have an open competition. I think that's fair. I think it all depends on what Brock Purdy does. I mean, Brock Purdy, he can opt for the surgery, and he can have 6 months, or he can try to rehab it. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I hope Trey Lance gets an opportunity, but let's just say Purdy gets to 6 months. He gets the surgery, right? He's off for 6 months. So he comes back in July, maybe August. He's going to miss all of OTAs, basically most of not all of training camp. I don't think he's really going to be ready. I think Trey Lance will be taking, all the first snaps. So I think Trey Lance definitely has an advantage. It'll be interesting to see who the 49ers bring in to back up Trey Lance and possibly Brock Purdy. That's going to be something. Of course, everyone's heard of number 12 from Tampa Bay, of course. But I just don't think Shanahan wants to take orders from players. And if Shanahan brings on TB12, TB12 is definitely going to have a huge say in the offense, in play calling. And I don't think Shanahan wants to do that. His ego will not allow him to be told what to do on the offensive side of the ball. I just don't see that happening. So obviously TB12, hell of a talent, one of the greatest to ever do it. But I don't see Shanahan bowing down and kissing TB12's rings. I just don't see that happening. Steve Supremo, what's good? Appreciate you tuning in to the stream tonight. He says 7-4 KC. Not sure what you mean by that. Maybe you don't have to elaborate on that. Hey, Zeus, got to give Eagles in hitting Purdy and Josh to make them injured. I mean, the Purdy hit was, I think it was a fluke as far as him getting hurt. You know, that's not an injury we normally see. And you know, hey, I don't think Reddick intentionally hit him to hurt him. Did he want to hit him and make it hurt? Absolutely, but I don't think it was any intentional, you know, behind that. As far as Josh Johnson, I mean, we've seen Tua get hurt like that. We've seen other quarterbacks where their head, you know, hits the back of their head. Their head hits the ground, the turf, and you know, and guys get hurt. It's very, very unfortunate. But unfortunately, it's a part of the game. Where you hiding? What's good? Where you hiding, for those that don't know, is a Philadelphia Eagles fan. He says, no hard feelings, Jay in the Bay. Major respect for you. What's good? Hey, I appreciate you coming on to the stream, man. I appreciate it. Hey, you guys were the better team that night. And hey, man, what can I say? You guys definitely were better that night. We didn't have our A game. Hell, we didn't even have our starting quarterback. So, but it's going to be interesting. Eagles and Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I'm looking forward to it. We have another caller in the building. Let me know when you're ready, caller. Thumbs up. You good? All righty. Let's bring in David McNiner. What's good? How you doing tonight,
What's
D?
good, Jay?
Hey, I'm doing good.
I'm kind of sobering. You know, it's all just kind of setting in. Yeah, you know, when it first happened, I was like, just kind of disbelief, because you know we've had a great season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 12-game winning streak. Went to the NFC Championship game and came up short.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it was.
Yes, I heard.
I was gonna say it was just. It was a weird game. I mean, you know, Elijah Mitchell, you know, getting inactive like an hour before kickoff. That was disappointing. Fred Warner got hurt on like the second play of the game, and you know, I was thinking, man, this guy he might be out for the rest of the game. The way he was on the ground, and Nick Bosa getting hurt on a sideline play where he's not even in the game, and the Eagles player took him out. So it was just a lot of weird things that went on in that game for sure. Let me ask you this: everyone's been talking about, you know, the 4th and 3 play where Devontae Smith didn't catch the ball. Do you fault Shanahan for not throwing the challenge flag in that situation?
100%. 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 4. So Devontae Smith is over there signaling for him to rush up. They're all rushing up to the line. Kyle Shanahan should have said, why ain't they huddling up? And at that point in the game, it's 4th and 3.
Yeah.
This is worth a timeout. This is worth losing a timeout over. Throw the flag out there. Even if you haven't seen the play, throw the flag out, because they're rushing to the line for a reason.
Right. No, that's absolutely fair. I just think it was a bang bang play. You know, I don't know about you, but seeing it on TV, they only showed like maybe 2, maybe 3 angles, and the one where they showed where you could see Huff looking in at the 2 players. I felt like they didn't show that until actually I think I might have saw that online. I didn't even think I even saw that on the TV. So
I saw it on the TV, but after they had snapped, they had scored a touchdown.
Okay. Yeah, so that's unfortunate that, you know, obviously it's considered a hurry up play. And we've seen that play. Every team does that every week, once a game or twice a game. But yeah, I think Shanahan, in hindsight, he should have threw the challenge flag for sure. Did that
when it comes down to it, did Shanahan learn his lesson? I mean, you see a team make a play like that, they're rushing up to the line real quick. Is it like, throw the challenge flag, bro. We have timeouts. What's a timeout? You know.
Right. What's a timeout?
Kill us.
Yeah, what's a timeout? Especially when we call timeouts to avoid delay games all the time. So it's like no, but great point. Great point. What else in that game was like the nail in the coffin for you? Watching that game, what basically ended the game for you in your eyes? Watching that game,
when Brock Purdy got hurt.
Yeah.
The second they took him out, I was like, hold on, he's on the sideline. Why ain't they putting him back in?
Right.
Josh Johnson kept coming out. I'm like, why isn't he in the game? I can't find any reports on this. What's going on?
Right. What's going on?
We found out after the game he tore his what is it? UCL.
UCL.
Yeah.
In his elbow or something like that. Yeah.
I don't know if is it a complete, is it all the way through tear or is it a partial?
From my understanding, it's a complete tear, and there's a few different ways you can repair it. So you can just rehab it, and that would avoid surgery. But there's downsides to that, because let's say you're in the middle of rehab and it ain't really, it's not at your elbow is not progressing at the way you want it to during a certain amount of time in rehab. Then you could just opt for surgery, but then you'll be out a minimum of 6 months. So from what I've heard today, Brock Purdy, he's still mulling over his options. He's trying to get another MRI to decide what he wants to do. Worst case scenario, he could get Tommy John surgery, which is common among, baseball pitchers. But hopefully it's just 6 months. But even if it's 6 months, he's going to miss all OTAs. He's going to miss a bulk of training camp. He may not even be ready for preseason. So it sucks. It sucks for Purdy. That's for sure. It sucks for Purdy. He was having a hell of a year.
Well, I watch a lot of baseball, and a lot of times when a pitcher goes and has Tommy John surgery, when they come back, they have an extra couple mile an hour on that ball. So it could actually give him a stronger arm in the long run if that's what he chooses to do.
Yeah, that's
at the same time, 6 months ain't bad if they're talking about doing Tommy John's. And I know people that are thinking it's a calendar year. What are these? What are you talking about? That's for baseball. That's a different throwing motion, and a lot of those pitchers are throwing 100 pitches a game.
Right. Plus warming up and all that. So yeah. But I've heard though that if he gets to Tommy John, he won't play next season. That's what I've heard. But I mean, we'll see what happens with that. I got to ask you this. The Niners obviously they started off real slow, 3-4 on the season, ended up getting to the NFC Championship game. In your eyes, in David McNiner's eyes, was this a failure or a successful season?
So I'm 46 years old. I've been watching the Niners since the mid 80s. And when we go this far and don't make a Super Bowl, it is a failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can understand that. And I thought we overcame a lot of challenges in the regular season, but I think at the end of the day, it was a failure. 12-game winning streak, undefeated in the NFC West division, hadn't been done since 97. So we accomplished a lot of things, but we didn't accomplish the ultimate goal. And, ultimately, the head man in charge will get the blame, Kyle Shanahan. Let me ask you this. Knowing what we know now about the quarterback room, how would you feel bringing on TB12?
Is he willing to take a discount? Because we got to sign like Nick Mullins and we need to, right now, our only edges are Nick Mullins and Drake Jackson.
Right.
So we need to add a piece here and there.
Yeah.
And we got to re-sign our own guys and keep them. Yeah. So if he's willing to take a severe discount, then I'd still say no because he's as old as me. And there are days I'm like, I get out of my vehicle after driving home from work, and it's like, I didn't feel that doing that before. I could imagine what he feels like after, the day after a game. He probably wakes up and goes and soaks in a tub of ice,
Right.
But,
absolutely.
But yeah, at this point, with how everyone can say Tampa Bay's offensive line sucked, this and that. I watched a few of his games, and I think he's on the decline. And next year, it's just going to be a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's kind of hard to compare TB12 with the weapons he had in Tampa Bay, and then if he happened to come to the Niners, it's like a night and day. I feel with the weapons we have, but I just don't think that dynamic of Shanahan and TB12, that's like oil and water. I don't think they're going to mix at all. TB12 has a lot of input in the offense. He's not afraid to tell Shanahan what to do, and I don't think Shanahan ego can handle that. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. So
I really don't think it's going to happen just from the business aspect of it all. But
right.
At the same time, that is an excellent point. I don't think there's enough room on the sideline for those two egos.
Exactly, right?
No.
I completely agree with you. Hey, man, I appreciate you for coming on to the stream tonight, David. You have a great rest of your night. Feel free. Any final thoughts on the season, or what are you looking forward to through the off season? Whatever you like.
Well, the off season, who's going to be our DC?
Yeah.
Is it going to be Steve Wilkes? Is it going to be Vic Fangio? A lot of people say Fangio, but I've always said Fango. I don't even know which one's correct.
I think it's Fangio. Vic Fangio.
I think Fangio? Is that the correct one? Oh,
at least that's how it's spelled.
But yeah, I mean that's a big position, and I honestly think, Steve Wilkes being the defensive backs coach for a long time, he was pretty successful at it. I'm thinking he could help he could help Hufanga, and Lenore, maybe even Ambry Thomas, the guy we didn't see much of this year. He might even help him out.
Yep.
So this really could be a good thing, Well,
we'll see. We'll see what comes to fruition. It'll be interesting to see what Shanahan decides. But there's no doubt it's always going to be an interesting offseason with the 49ers, with the draft, we got a lot of unrestricted free agents coming up, but I'm definitely going to have another show where we delve into that. So, hey, man, hopefully you can call in on that show as well, and I could pick your brain. Okay. But I appreciate you for coming on tonight.
All right. Trent Williams is heading to the WWE after he retires. I just had to say it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hey, he was frustrated. He had to get that frustration out somehow, man.
Yep. All
right, David. Have a good night,
all right,
man.
buddy. You too.
All right. Hey, that was David McNiner. Appreciate him for tuning in and calling in on the show. Feel free if you want to call in and vent about the Eagles game, if you want to vent about Shanahan not throwing the challenge flag. Hey, whatever you want to talk about with the 49ers in the offseason, let's do it. Feel free to call in. The link is in the chat. Let's see. So Where You Hiding did say that D'Amico is a huge loss. My God, big mistake. I mean, when you say big mistake, I don't think Shanahan would prevent him from taking the job. But unless you're saying it's a mistake to take the Texans job, hey, I think that's debatable. But it doesn't seem like, let's be real, black coaches, usually it's not a good idea for them to turn down a head coaching job. I mean, what's his name? Byron Leftwich he's figuring that out right now. Byron Leftwich, for those that don't know, he was taking a few head coaching interviews. He had one with the Jaguars last season, but he wanted to bring on his own general manager. The Jaguars brass wasn't having it, and they didn't agree to terms. And now, hey, Byron Leftwich last year, or I should say this season with the Bucs, he gets fired, and now he's looking for a job. So it's like, hey, man, they offered you 6 years on the contract. Hey, if I was D'Amico, I would have took it too. I mean, D'Amico was hired by the Texans, a first-round pick, so he knows the organization. I mean, and this is probably his dream, playing in the NFL, becoming a head coach. That's hard to turn down, man. That's hard to turn down. Steve-O, Supremo, good coaches come here because they get promoted. Absolutely. I agree. And, you're always pretty much going to be in contention for the playoffs, if you're on the 49ers. And, Shanahan has done pretty well in the playoffs, but we just haven't been able to get number 6. But we're still on the prowl for that, for sure. Let's see. Oh, Steve-O is saying 7-4 KC beating the Eagles. Okay. Okay. Faithful, the Bay. What's good? Appreciate you tuning in to the stream tonight. I hope all is well. Steve-O says it wasn't the timeouts, it was the 2 challenges. Okay. Hey, that's fair. David Villa, what's good? How you doing tonight, David? What were you guys' thoughts on the ending to the season? I mean, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. A lot of things, I mean, everything that could go wrong did go wrong in that game for the 49ers. And it was like we were in a boxing match and we had one hand tied behind our back and we were trying to fight someone who had the use of both of their hands. So it was, after Josh Johnson got concussed, it was pretty much all she wrote. And then he fumbled the snap. I mean, I know Josh Johnson is a career backup, but come on, brother, you at least got to don't take your eye off the snap. But clearly the moment was too big. The moment was just too big for Josh, man. I hope he gets well. I know he had the concussion, so hopefully he recovers full strength from that. But clearly the moment was too big. David Villa says, what's up, Faithfuls? Jay in the Bay and McNiner. Let's go Niners. Let's see. David says, D'Amico Ryans with that bag of draft picks from the Watson trade and all that available cap room has a chance to build a good team. Oh, okay. You're talking about when he's with the Texans. Yeah. I mean, hey, they got, like you said, they got the draft picks, they got the salary cap. So yeah, they can definitely build a team. I think the GM, is it Nick? I think Cesario or something like that. He came over from the New England Patriots, So hey, hopefully they can build a winner for D'Amico, and he coaches them up, and hey, hopefully they have successful seasons. David Villa says some birds aren't meant to be caged. Good luck, D'Amico. Hey, absolutely, man. He's definitely earned it. Kudos to Shanahan for finding the talent, cultivating it. And this is the 3rd head coach under his coaching tree. So that's incredible. Obviously, the 49ers are going to have a ton of draft picks, none on day 1 and day 2, but definitely, there'll definitely be pretty much all our draft picks will be, day 2 and day 3. So, but that's where the 49ers have done great, right? We've seen Kittle. We've seen Dre Greenlaw. We've seen Talanoa Hufanga. So, hey, Niners do some of their best work in the later rounds of the draft. No doubt about it. And feel free. I'm probably going to stay on for at least another 15, 20 minutes. Feel free if you need to vent, just keep it respectful. That's all I ask. If you want to talk about the Niners off season, whatever, feel free to call into the show now. I'll probably be on for about another, 20 minutes. But yeah, obviously tough loss against the Eagles, very tough loss. It's a terrible way to end the season. We couldn't even compete in that game versus the Eagles. That's what was so frustrating. And after winning 12 straight games, sweeping the division, obviously we overcome a lot of hurdles and obstacles that were in the way in the regular season. Obviously trading for CMC was incredible. One of the greatest trades, I think, in NFL history and 49er history. And he's not a 1-year rental. He'll be with the team, I think, for at least another 3 years, at least per his contract. Obviously, he can get cut anytime, but, bringing over CMC was incredible. But I think the sky is the limit for this squad and this roster next year. Obviously, we've got a ton of free agents. It's going to be interesting to see who we decide to bring back. Just to go over some of the names, obviously one of the most loved 49ers, Mike McGlinchey. Mike McGlinchey, unrestricted free agent. I mean, there's not a ton of great right tackles in the NFL. Mike McGlinchey ain't great, but I think he could fetch 8 to 10 mil per year, maybe more on a multi-year contract. I don't know if that's too rich for the 49ers, but I honestly, I won't be mad if we look in-house, maybe Colton McKivitz, or maybe we draft a right tackle, or maybe pick up a vet in free agency. I don't mind us moving past Mike McGlinchey. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo, I think it's hey, shake his hand. Jimmy, you did great for us. Appreciate what you did for the 49ers. When you were healthy, this team was relevant, but it's time to go. That's what I would say to Jimmy. Jimmy Ward, man, I did not like his comments in the presser in the post game, but hey, maybe he was frustrated. This is the way he vented. He's been a hell of a 49er for us, Jimmy Ward. He's the longest tenured 49er, but he didn't like that he was playing out of position. Kudos to Tayshaun Gibson for balling out. He wasn't even on a roster at the beginning of the season. So Jimmy Ward, though, I won't be surprised if he's gone. Charles Omenihu, I would like to see him back if it's like a 1-year deal. I wouldn't mind that, and hopefully his off the field issues clear up for sure. Jake Brendel, I'd be okay with moving on. I feel like we could get better. I'd be okay. If you bring him back on a 1-year deal, he competes, sure, but he shouldn't be guaranteed the starting center job. Kicker Robbie Gould. I mean, he's one of the most accurate kickers in the NFL. Will Robbie Gould return to the Niners? That's going to be interesting. Who do we go from there? Do we draft a kicker? Do we pick up one in free agency? I think it depends on what Robbie Gould wants to do. I know he had been wanting to live in Chicago and be closer to his family, so that'll be interesting. Samson Ebukam, I think we probably let him walk. Defensive end Kerry Hyder, we probably let walk. Or maybe a 1-year deal, we let him compete. Daniel Brunskill, maybe 1-year deal, let him compete. Cornerback Emmanuel Mosley, I think he'll definitely be back. Cornerback Emmanuel Mosley suffered the torn ACL. I expect him to be back on a 1-year deal. Hopefully he can rehab with the squad, and maybe he'll come back the back half of the second half of the season. So that's what I'm hoping for our free agents. David Villa, what you think, Jay? Do you think we'll get Brady? Nah, I don't see it coming. Hey, we know the story. Brady from the Bay. Yeah, he was a 49er kid. There's a picture of him with his mom at Candlestick. It's a great story, but I just don't think with all he brings to the table, I just don't think he will align with Shanahan. I think Kyle Shanahan runs the show. He doesn't want much input. He doesn't want to be told what to do. He doesn't want his quarterback to go behind his back a day before game day and then start switching up the plays. Shanahan will not appreciate that. And hey, like David McNiner said, man, the ego of Shanahan versus the ego of TB12. I don't think Shanahan wants that at all. Would he love to have TB12 on the roster? Sure, but I just don't think Shanahan wants to deal with that. Shanahan does not want to deal with that type of personality. He wants someone that's going to listen, do their job. And TB12, I think he's beyond that at this point. So no, I do not see it happening. But until TB12 signs with a team, whether it be back with the Buccaneers or with a different team, we're still going to continue to have these conversations about TB12 coming to the 49ers. With Purdy's injury, it does make things interesting because can you really rely on Purdy to be ready by the preseason? That's in August. Best case scenario, 6 months, UCL surgery. He comes back. He's going to be behind the 8-ball, so to speak. So I think obviously, hopefully Trey stays healthy throughout all off-season training camp. He gets all the first team reps, and then we'll probably bring in a backup QB. Absolutely, man. Go ahead and hit the link. Go ahead, hit the link, and you can definitely join the call, man. I usually give everyone about 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes. Feel free to hit the link, man. But yeah, I wanted to come on tonight, vent a little bit about the Eagles and Niners game. Talk about the latest news. Of course, D'Amico Ryans getting hired by the Texans to be the head coach. Super excited for him and his family. It's a great opportunity. And of course, we learned about Brock Purdy and his injury after having a wonderful year. It sucks that he's hurt now, but yeah, it is crazy. Let me know if you are ready, Jay. Give me a thumbs up. So we got Jay also in the Bay. What's good?
What's good?
How you doing, man?
Good. What about you?
Hey, I'm doing excellent,
Yep.
man. I'm glad you joining me tonight.
Yep.
On Jay in the Bay, the call-in show. I gotta ask you, man, what were your thoughts about the Eagles game?
Honestly,
yeah,
I thought like in the first half, okay, I was like, we feel like we gave up too many points on the game, and I feel like the Eagles' just defense was just phenomenal and offense was just phenomenal. We couldn't stop them. We kept giving them the ball too easily, and I feel like it just like Shanahan and D'Amico Ryans, there should have been like more calls. I know that we did lose Purdy and Brock Purdy to a torn throwing arm, which was bad, But then we didn't have any quarterbacks. We had Josh Johnson, and that didn't turn up as well. The fumble, which really just got us. Right there.
I think the moment was too big for Josh Johnson. I think that was clear.
Yeah.
When you look at Josh Johnson, I mean, he's been a career backup. I think he started less than 10 games in his career. Like he's probably been on more teams than he has actual starts.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a 4-string QB. It sucks that that moment was too big. So very, very unfortunate, man. Let me ask you real quick. What are your thoughts on the Super Bowl? Are you going to watch the Super Bowl? Because I know some Niner fans aren't even going to watch. They're going to protest.
I know some Niner fans are not going to watch the Super Bowl, but I would love to see it and see who takes the Lombardi Trophy home.
Yeah.
They are both good teams, I give them that. I give the Eagles a lot of respect. I know they beat us, but still,
Yeah, but I can't root for either team. Like I can't root for the Chiefs. They beat us in the Super Bowl, and then the Eagles beat us. So I'm just hoping for a competitive game. Hopefully it's close, and whoever wins.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I was talking about our free agents a few minutes ago. What do you think the biggest need for the 49ers position is going into the offseason? What do you think our biggest need is?
I don't exactly when I'm not sure if we need another quarterback or how our quarterback situation is going to be. If we're going to require another quarterback, I am hearing a lot of rumors about Tom Brady coming to the Bay, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I think time will tell. I don't think him and Shanahan will mix, but maybe Shanahan will calm his ego and allow for Brady to come in. But also Brady's going to want probably at least $20 million a year.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of getting off that by Jimmy G being gone next year. So it's like we want to bring that back in, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, what are your thoughts on Mike McGlinchey? I mean, the right tackle, he's an unrestricted free agent. Would you want Mike McGlinchey back, or you ready to move on?
I think honestly, that's a good question. It would be hard because I know we do have our left tackles, and I know they're gonna make some mistakes here and there. But you just all you gotta do is do your job blocking. Make sure you block so the pressure doesn't come into the quarterback. And that's what I think we saw a lot in the Eagles game. We just weren't blocking enough.
Yeah, I think McGlinchey. I think he had a pretty solid year. Obviously, there's going to be some plays on Sunday, where he's just going to get mollywopped. like the play against Micah Parsons, where Micah Parsons just threw him down like a rag doll. I mean, some of those that's going to happen, but I know a lot of fans will be glad if Mike McGlinchey's gone. I thought he was pretty solid 49er. I mean, he's going to get beat in some pass plays, but what tackle does it? But honestly, for me, I would look to move on from McGlinchey, especially if he wants 10 to 12 mil per year on a multi-year contract. I'd be willing to move on.
Yeah,
that's me. So,
what do you think about what's saying? Do you think that Jimmy Ward's going to stay with us, or do you think he's going to get traded in the offseason?
I don't think he'll get traded because he'll be an unrestricted free agent, so he can sign wherever. Mm-hmm. But I'd be surprised if he's back. I would welcome him back, but I would rather him play at his natural position at that free safety spot. I'm not sure what we'll do with Tayshaun Gibson, even though he had a fantastic season. I think he led the team in interceptions, I believe. It was either him or Huff. So, that'll be interesting. But I got one last question for you. What are your final thoughts on the season? Is this a disappointing season? Was this a successful season?
Honestly, for me, this was a really good season. A lot of people did doubt us that we weren't going to go anywhere. Week 2, when I seen Trey Lance go down with a broken foot injury, I thought that was it. And then when we brought Jimmy Garoppolo in, and then he went down with a foot injury, I was like, this is it. We're done. Our season's wrapped. But a lot of people are like, okay, this Purdy guy, let's see what he can do. Our third-string quarterback. And, he did surprise a lot of people and took us to the playoffs. And that's all that really matters, I wasn't mad that I know we did lose a lot of good quarterbacks and 2 went down, but I feel like if we would have used Purdy in the beginning of the season, we would have won most of these games.
Hey, that's interesting, man. I mean, there's no doubt we accomplished a lot of things, 12-game winning streak, 7-0 in the division. That's definitely something to be proud about. Winning the NFC West. We didn't accomplish the ultimate goal. So I think we accomplished a lot of things. We overcame some roadblocks, but I think this will be a disappointing season. I don't know about you. I haven't seen the 49ers win a Super Bowl. So, it's been a long time, man. It's going on 30 years. So, it's I just want them to get back to the bowl and take care of business. So like all the other fans do, of course. So but hey, I appreciate you calling in tonight, Jay. Right. You're more than welcome to call in. I'm gonna try to host one of these shows, maybe 1 or 2 times a week, or not a week, but a month or so. So yeah, man, just be on the lookout. Make sure you subscribe to Jay and the Bay on YouTube, man. And then
for sure.
Hey, man, you have a good night, man. Go Niners. All right. All right. That was Jay calling in. Hey, I appreciate you calling in, man. I think we got one more caller. All right, let's see what you got, Steve-O. What's good, Steve-O?
What's up, Jerry Bay?
Hey, what's good, man? How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. First time caller, so let me know how I sound.
Hey, you sound good. Crystal clear.
Cool. Yeah, I just think we need to do better as a fan base, man. I've been kind of going crazy the last couple of days.
You talking about from the 49ers fan base?
Yeah, and I'm kind of new to YouTube. I'm not on Twitter, so I don't hear all the stuff. But I mean, just certain things, just people be talking crazy, man. I mean, it was an amazing season, bizarre game. But little things like, oh, Jimmy G was activated. He gave out on us. It's like, no, dude. Like, if you don't know the 2019 season, D Ford, everybody was off the injury report. D Ford and Jalen Hurts.
Right.
Or they never played a game again. Like, that's what the Niners do. So, like, Jimmy G, I don't know if you're familiar with basketball, but CP3 had the same injury as Jimmy G. And I'm not a Jimmy G fan, don't get me wrong. But CP3 couldn't dribble ball for 6 weeks, and Jimmy carries.
Wow.
So, like, you know what I mean?
Are you talking about when Jimmy had the broken hand?
Yeah,
the
broken
thumb, I think. The thumb, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, CP3 had that same injury, couldn't dribble basketball for 6 weeks to be like, he got activated. Like, we need to look at the bigger picture, and just little things like that be driving me crazy. Like, oh, the third tight end, whatever. Like, dude, we did that play for 20 weeks.
Right. that ain't the first time we've done a play action pass.
Jawan Jennings scored a touchdown. Nobody says anything for 20 weeks, but Karen Cohn says something and I'd be like, hey, and this is why I'm calling because nobody will reply in the chat, and I'm not going to call any callers out or anything. But it's like, who missed the block on Josh Johnson?
That was Kittle.
Like nobody knew. You know what I mean? They couldn't give me the answer because they're just going with somebody else's narrative. You know what I mean? Like Kittle and Juwan both missed that sack on Josh Johnson that he almost fumbled.
Right.
Two guys, you just split them. Like, you know, it is what it is. But like, I mean, you know, there's people are going crazy. Foul Kyle and all this stuff. Like, you gotta put some.
Yeah, whenever you know, fan is short for fanatic. You know, whenever you know expectations are not met, or you know, hey, we don't make it to the bowl. There's always going to be fingers to point and someone to blame, and you know that is Kyle Shanahan. The buck stops with him. He is the head man in charge. I don't think I don't know what he could have done differently after Brock Purdy went out. Josh Johnson, he led us on our only touchdown drive. I mean, I know he handed it off to CMC a lot, but he looked okay. He looked decent. And then the defense, which initially kept us in the game, you know, after the Eagles scored that touchdown, we stopped the Eagles on 3 straight drives. And then the penalties came up again. I mean, everyone loves Dre Greenlaw, but it's like, come on, man. It's like every game, game he's got a penalty. It's like,
you know, Kyle should have, you know, threw the flag. But after that, it was 7-7. I was like, oh, I'm looking at the storyline of we're with our 4th string quarterback.
I know, right?
But so I had a little bit of hope for a minute, but yeah, it was crazy. And then not only that, but I watched the tape today, and like everybody wanted to spy the QB, and Fred Ward spied Jalen Hurts, and they had Nick Bosa crashing in instead of containing, and that's the reason why, you know, 2 of the touchdowns nobody got touched,
right?
And the 3rd touchdown, you know. But I mean, you know, D'Amico got outplayed on that one. It was a tough situation, but they gave it to us. I mean, you know.
No, they did. Yeah, in the second half, they definitely did. You know, I just think the defense was demoralized. I mean, I think, you know, everyone knew the game was over. We couldn't execute a forward pass. I mean, it was ridiculous, honestly. I had never seen anything like that. And it sucks to definitely be on the losing end. I want to ask you this, you know, what's the biggest, you know, positional upgrade you think this team needs going into the offseason?
Well, I mean, eventually we're going to need a kicker and a fullback because that, you know, those are some strengths. But I'm not saying, you know, next year because you know how Kyle is. But Gibson is going to be 33, and I'd like to have Jimmy Ward back, but you know we probably won't keep him. So I mean, we're going to need a safety. I mean, I think our defense with Davis coming back and hopefully Drake gets in there, we should be solid. I mean, we're still number 1, even with Kinlaw situations. So. I don't see much for
Speaking of Javon Kinlaw, man,
that guy got double teamed a lot. I mean, I give him Kinlaw 1 more year, but I mean, hey, he had his pad levels low. He was getting slammed everywhere. We just Bosa got laid out for 5 seconds by a dude, man.
Yeah. I just think we definitely got manhandled at the point of attack. Honestly, on both sides of the ball. And that's weird because usually the Niners are the bullies along the lines. And that wasn't the case in, you know, Sunday's game. But I think Javon Kinlaw, unfortunately, next year will probably be his last year. I think if we cut him this offseason, it's a $5 million dead cap hit on the salary cap. I just don't think the Niners are going to do that. I think we'll keep Kinlaw next year, but I don't think we're picking up his 5th-year option. I just don't see that happening. But yeah, we chose him to replace, you know, Buckner, but unfortunately, you know, he didn't fit the bill. He has not proven to be a good draft pick at this point. So I think we got Khalil Davis last year in the draft. It sucks we let go DJ Jones, hell of a defensive tackle for us, but I think we're going to have to get another defensive tackle in this year's draft and continue to beef up that front.
Yeah. I mean, we could have been really. See, the thing people don't realize is that our strength last year was O-line, and our weakness was cornerback. And so we traded our O-line for cornerback because our division has 2 top stud receivers, in our division. So that's what we traded. So every team's going to have a weakness. So that's what we did, and I think it was a fairly good trade. But I mean, you know.
I thought the offensive line I thought they got better game by game. I don't know if Jake Brindle, though. I know he's a free agent. I don't know if he'll be back. I would welcome him back, but I wouldn't anoint him the starter. Maybe some of the guys we drafted last year, Nick Zakil, Poe, maybe one of those guys could step in and start at center. But I thought they got better. I thought they gelled. Burford didn't have a good game, but a lot of guys didn't. Let's be real. Like a lot of guys didn't have a good game against the Eagles, and
that's the thing.
The Eagles will do that to a lot of teams.
Everybody was calling Banks a bust last year. Like I just say, trust the process. Like stay faithful. Like trust the process.
Right.
Banks was there. Hufunga, he didn't play. He was like, that's not how we draft. We look a little bit ahead. And we want to see more of our running backs and all this stuff. But
hopefully we don't draft a running back.
Hey, we should draft 2 quarterbacks. Put two-time fucking champ back there. What's his name? Dr. Disrespect in there. That guy can.
That's funny. Well, he exited himself out. I guess he had to go. But appreciate you for calling in, Steve-O. We got Kelts Chronicles in the building. What's good? Appreciate you tuning in to the stream tonight, Kelts. I hope all is well. Me and Kelps, we are one half of Straight Out of the Bay. Also, Bay Area Baller 18, Amin the Dream. We had an excellent year this year talking all things 49ers. Appreciate you coming on. He says, we're going to beef the lines up and come back better. This team is built for longevity. Yay! I appreciate that, man. Huge shout out to everyone who tuned into the stream tonight. Huge shout out if you called into the show. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Obviously, this was a disappointing end to the season, but I think the pillars of the roster are intact and will return to the squad. We just have to add bits and pieces. And hey, maybe use Danny Gray. Can we use Danny Gray next year? I don't understand. It just blows my mind how the fastest guy on the squad, you can't find a role in this offense. I still don't get that. But hey, everyone have a good rest of your week, a productive week. I probably may have a show next week. We'll see what comes to fruition. But I appreciate everyone tuning in. Go Niners. And, hey, enjoy that Super Bowl in 2 weeks. Hopefully we get some competitive football. Y'all be easy. Peace.